Bloodline, directed by Henry Jacobson, starring Seann William Scott, Mariela Garriga, and Dale Dickey. Evan values family above all else, and anyone who gets between him, his wife, and newborn son learns that the hard way. But when it comes to violent tendencies, it seems the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. When I went into Bloodline, I wasn't really sure what to expect. From the trailers alone, it looked like it could be a film that was inspired by Dexter, and in some ways, at least aesthetically, it does have some similarities to Dexter, but that's where the similarities end. This film, to me, kind of feels like a more reined-in maniac, and the character is a man who is able to have a family and have this mask of being normal and being a social worker working with kids. But what I really liked about this film, especially, was Seann William Scott and his performance as Evan. There is this sense of a barrier between him and other people, even his wife. And the only time the barrier really comes down is when he's with his victims or when he is talking to his mother. It's really great to see Seann William Scott be in a role like this because he overall does a pretty good job. There's a couple instances where it comes across a little bit wooden, but that could also be because of the character. He's trying to act normal. And when you're someone who's not normal and you're putting on this mask and you're acting like you're someone else, that can be difficult to keep up that mask. The other performances are pretty good as well. I thought Dale Dickey was really good, and she has this kind of ominous presence to her. And when we find a bit more about her backstory and the relationships she has with her son Evan, it really enhances a lot of the storyline and what Evan is going through and why he is willing to go to the lengths that he goes to be able to continue to indulge in his violent tendencies as a serial killer while still maintaining a normal life or semblance of a normal life with his wife and his newborn baby. I felt that the kills and the gore and the practical effects were pretty damn good in this movie. And it's really hard to tell where the prosthesis and the person ends with some of these kills, and it's really well done. I was surprised at how gory and bloody this film was. And again, Seann William Scott as Evan, he seems to fully embrace this character. Another aspect I really liked about this film was the cinematography and the editing. There are some scenes where you really get to be put into the shoes of Evan and as well as his wife, Lauren, where you see the chaos of them not only about to give birth to their baby, but as they're taking care of their newborn baby and the chaos that ensues and how Evan is trying to keep everything together but is also having these fantasies about murder. Another aspect I also liked was the lighting and the music, especially the use of different color tones like red and blues to be able to denote what's happening in that scene. And there are certain scenes where the colors get completely muted and desaturated, and I like those little details that were added into the film. The synthwave type score I felt really worked with this film, and it helped to set the tone for each individual scene. I do have some nitpicks about this film, specifically around the pacing. The first half of the film, I feel, is really well paced, but there's this middle portion of the film that kind of drags a bit. And the momentum that we had at that beginning of the film really started to slow down. By the end of the film, it picks back up again, but there's that lull in the middle part that I feel could have been tightened up a bit more. And although I liked the performances overall, there were a few that were a little bit weaker than others, and I didn't really feel the full weight of the emotion from those particular characters. There's also some dialogue that I didn't think quite hit the mark, and it just seemed to me that the script just needed to be tightened up just a little bit more, but it's not anything that completely detracts from the film. It's still a very entertaining movie. So with all that said, I'd say that Bloodline is a high-end weekend rental. I was very close to giving this an add to the collection, but because of some of the pacing issues and some performances that didn't quite hit the mark and some dialogue that doesn't completely work, that dropped the score down a bit for me. But overall, it's still a well-done film and worth checking out. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for coming by, and I'll see you guys next time.